What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Mythic Plus. Today we are going to kind of start off our series with a run that I did last week. This is going to be a 12 Magister's Terrace. Going into this at, I think I'm just over just like 255 item level, something like that. 256 maybe, and this is going to be a pretty good run. 257, there we go. I will leave my talents in the description below as well, so you can go ahead and check those out if you want to. I had previously been playing a lot of Eldrazi Reaver as Demon Hunter, just ever since it kind of became meta last expansion, and then I started playing this spec, and I will never go back. This spec just feels fantastic. You do so much more damage. If you're looking for a new Vengeance Demon Hunter spec, definitely check this one out because it will change your whole gameplay. I'm going to put up some pretty good numbers in this. I know the Hunter absolutely blasts this for his first pull with Lust, but it is going to be very, very good. And it all kind of plays around just using Fracture on cooldown. So if you're ever playing this spec and you have Fracture or multiple charges of Fracture, you need to be using those for sure. Nothing too special on these first two pulls here. We're just going to go ahead and pop meta offensively on the first pull just so we can do maximum damage during Bloodlust. And meta is also going to be one of your offensive cooldowns in this spec as well. So we are going to just be using that sometimes in easier pulls, use it a little more offensively, and then obviously save it for defensively in a little bit harder pulls here. And we don't have any cooldowns for this next pull, so I'm going to go ahead and commit Darkness just so that I can stay alive a little bit easier because these mobs are hitting me pretty hard. Make sure that we keep Pain Spikes up, keep Fracture on cooldown, and then use Soul Bomb whenever it is up at a certain point. You also need to play around your defensives like Immolation Aura. Immolation Aura is going to be a huge defensive for you. It's going to generate a ton of soul fragments for you, and it's going to give you some armor while it's active too. So you're going to feel much, much tankier here. I jump down here and I wait and I turn around just to make sure no one pulled the books in the back because those can get pulled, the ones under the stairs. Go ahead and Fiery Brand on the Gather just so that starts spreading around. So when the mobs actually finally do get to me, I have a couple Fiery Brands to reduce that incoming damage. Go ahead and grab this Pyromancer, and this pull should go down pretty quickly. As you can see, we're using Soul Bomb on cooldown, using Immolation Aura on cooldown, Fracture on cooldown, and and we can just kind of take out this pull. We have very, very good damage in this group too, so everything's going down pretty quick. Pyromancers are not going to be too big of a deal. And there's not a whole lot of variation in these first few pulls as well, so you're just going to kind of do these and, get them done. It's not a whole lot of variation. Just some stuff to mention as we get later on in this dungeon, just where you shouldn't go and where you should go. I usually like to pull this pat here, grab all this sort of stuff here because I feel like I can live this. I also know that there's a mob behind me, but I do want to like fell dev and kind of get everything gathered and stabilize before I grab that Arcane Sentry. Pop meta just so that I can stay alive a little bit easier. And then just start spamming Fracture, Soul Bomb, and then using Soul Cleave to absorb all those souls. And I know that I'm getting a little bit lower in on health here, but I still have meta going, so I feel pretty confident that I can stay alive. We'll go ahead and just do this pull. A lot of these Enforcers aren't going to do a whole lot. They're all just going to be meleeing the tank, so the only thing we really have to worry about is the Arcane Sentry there. And easy peasy. I like doing that pull together just because it does hit the tank a little bit harder on these earlier weeks, but should be more than fine, especially if you're just going to go from, especially when you get a little bit more gear, should be totally fine. And I believe I'm using like one set in this run as well, so I don't even think I had 2 set or 4 set at all as well. So this pull, we're going to get all these Arcane Worms, the Bright Scale Worms. They will give you a damage increase as well. They will do a little bit of AoE damage, so be careful just popping them all at once. But as you can see, we do have 6 stacks of that debuff there, and that is actually going to be a damage increase, so you can use that to your advantage in some parts of this dungeon. It'll make it easier to take down these Blazing Pyromancers. And these pulls, not a whole lot you need to worry about. Just make sure we kick the Arcane Magisters as much as we can. Make sure we get the Pyromancer Pyroblasts, and then everything else should die here. I like to clear both sides of this area as well, so we can go ahead and walk on over here. We'll go ahead and grab all these Bright Scale Worms as well, do the same sort of thing. We're going to pop these worms. I'm going to use Fell Dev just to go ahead and gather the mobs up, get a couple Fracture stacks running, use Soul Bomb, and there we go. Now I have a nice beefy shield. And then the other thing you want to do in this spec is pretty much always use meta when it procs. It doesn't ever doesn't take the cooldown or anything like that, so you always want to press that and then consume some souls. Use Soul Cleave or Soul Bomb afterwards, because then you'll start summoning these meteors and start doing a ton of damage. As you can see, we're doing over 100k on a lot of these pulls with kind of minimal gear, I would say, like on a 12 during the first week. Definitely a pretty good number to be seeing, especially because we have so far to go here. And then we're going to go into Arcanotron Custis. I actually didn't see that the priest needed mana there, so I definitely should have paid a little bit more attention to that. But this guy, I'm just going to kind of keep him over by the wall. I'm also going to get absolutely blasted by his melee attacks, but it is going to be a-okay. When the Arcane Expulsion comes out, I just put myself against the wall so I don't get knocked back, and then we'll move him along the outside edge of this room just so that we can get all of these swirlies out of the way, and our casters have plenty of room to play with right in the middle. He will also do another knockback, so you just have to make sure that you don't get knocked back too far. Helps you position a little bit if you're closer to the wall, or if you have glide or something like that where you can cancel that or leap back. There's the second explosion. We drop the second swirly over by the door there. And then when you also get this refueling protocol, it does seem like the balls will not spawn like on top of him. As you can see, they're only coming from like the left and right sides of the boss. So it makes it a lot easier to soak them and keep those puddles a little bit more under control as well. So he's going to go ahead and do the burn phase here. We're just going to keep on hitting him and then kind of rinse and repeat. I'll still let the boss fight play out just because I think it's good to just see how everything plays out. But as you can see, positioning myself over here, that was the worst leap of my entire career, but hey, it's all good. And then as you can see, we got a meta proc, Fiery Brand meta, and then when we Soul Bomb, we're going to start summoning some meteors down. That's going to do some good damage. And you don't need to be too economical with space. I haven't had a group where we actually fill up the entire room, especially when you keep him towards the wall. Whenever he summons those orbs, it's not going to be too big of a deal here. All right. And we'll just go ahead and again, just use meta on whenever it procs. Could even use it offensively in some of these situations, but I do want to save my actual meta, my full cooldown meta, just for places where I would need it. The boss positioning is not quite as good here, just because he's a little farther away from the wall, so we do have some stuff on different angles here. But the Paladin does bubble, and he's going to go ahead and soak a bunch of the orbs, so we don't have to worry about that, and he does actually overlap a lot in the pool that we already created. So that is going to be very, very nice. It's going to save us a little bit of space. I'll soak the last one there, and Arcanotron is going to go down here in just a second. And here, I'm just like, I just want to get away from all of these slams. And the other thing about keeping the room open is that you actually just get to have the range. If they get knocked back at all, if anything happens to them, they have a lot of space to get knocked back, and it's not going to knock them into a puddle or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that too much. All right, we're going to take down the first boss here. And I like to actually get these, at least one pack of these worms right away. I do 2 of them, but you do have to be careful in melee as well, because they are going to explode and do some damage to your group. Especially, I believe it is melee focused, like it does explode in melee range. And so we're going to go ahead and kill these worms. They're all going to explode, and as you can see, we're taking quite a bit of damage, but we do have 20 stacks of this buff lasting 30 seconds. So this is going to give us a huge amount of damage going into the Enforcers. Somehow I didn't get aggro on those, and our Demon Hunter gets absolutely slammed, but the 20 stacks will help us take down this Spellbreaker double Enforcer pack much, much easier. And I kind of do this pack by itself just because these Spellbreakers were hitting me very, very hard, especially in week 1. As you can see, my health is rubber banding all over the place, and I actually backflip just to kite a little bit. So if you're scared about living, or if you're a little bit less durable, something like that, you can always do this together, and then you can save a little bit of time because the worms will help you even it out a little bit. So we'll go ahead and walk into this pole. We'll kick these, make sure I get aggro on these, and wait for the other mobs to run down the hallway. Make sure they get into position, and then we'll go ahead and grab the Spellbreaker, Magister, and the Arcane Elemental over there. I also do pull them with Silent Sigil, so they get a little bit closer around this corner, and then I try and line of sight the Magister around this corner just to get everything all nice and gathered up here. Go ahead and take out this pull. Again, just a couple kicks on these Magisters. Nothing too crazy about this. The Spellbreaker is really what you want to watch out for because he will hit the tank pretty hard here. And then the Runic Glaive is also going to do some damage It does leave a pretty nasty dot on people, so having multiple of these in a pack is going to be a little bit scary as well. So we will go ahead and just finish off this pull here. No need to rush in keys like this too, especially on like, you know, the first couple weeks or something like that. You just want to make sure you're doing safe pulls and making sure that people stay alive, giving healers a little bit of extra time to top people off. And then this next pull, not a whole lot going on. These light ward healers aren't going to do too much. I am taking this a little bit slow because I know there's 2 spell breakers up ahead, so I'm going to take this one a little bit slower, make sure that I don't have to use any extra cooldowns, nothing extra, and kind of bide my time and wait for my meta to be back up. Because as you can see, I don't have access to Fiery Brand, I don't have meta, I don't have I don't have hardly anything to go into that next pull. So this is going to be kind of a recovery pull for me, and just make sure that I go into the next pull feeling pretty good. I actually do end up committing Fiery Brand here just because it's taking a little bit longer, and I do have meta coming up in 16 seconds. I'll be able to open up a Fiery Fell Devastation, I should say, and then we're going into this feeling pretty confident. Have 4 seconds on meta, so I'm not going to get bricked right off the rip. I'm able to get my Soul Bomb going, and then summon some Meteors there. And then I'm going into this feeling a lot more confident and do have Fell Dev, so I can heal a little bit off that. And you do want to make sure that you point these spell breakers away from the healer. So I do have my Hunter and the healer in the back over there, trying to make sure that these spell breakers aren't facing over there. Because if the healer has to move, it makes it a lot harder to heal these glaives, and the glaives do hurt quite a bit. As you can see, they're taking the Demon Hunter and the Paladin, and now the healer. There's 3 of those glaives out, 4 actually. So it's going to be taking pretty hard. You want to make sure that the healer doesn't have to move. You can just sit there and blast. And I do actually see that the healer needs mana this time, so we're going to go ahead and take down this Spellbreaker here. And then this is a good time to get mana as well. Unfortunately, there is still a bleed, so the healer is still blasting before he's able to actually get his drink off. But that is a-okay. I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on him, see if he is drinking. And then once he gets to about 70%, he still has the drink going, so he'll get a little bit more mana. I can go ahead and pull. He could have even finished his drink there because there's no damage going off. And on this fight, I usually like to ping the person that is going to be soaking first. So especially when it goes on the tank, I can soak this dot for a lot longer, especially when I got a little bit more gear. I felt like this dot was not doing a whole lot. Make sure to ping the Paladin here. He actually goes in and gets hit by just the explosion on the on the ability there, so that was definitely not ideal. And then I realized that I still have the dot, but I am waiting for just to make sure that we get people topped off and healthy before I go ahead and almost proc my cheat death there. So no problem at all. I go ahead and ping the priest, say hey, go ahead and soak into this. I'll go ahead and take my dot for a little bit longer. Once the debuff falls off, I'll go ahead and dip in there. And then we have Wave of Silence going here. So we'll go ahead and just position ourselves close to the bubble, dip in for the Wave of Silence. And then we'll go ahead and the boss is already about 50% health, and this will just be a rinse and repeat sort of thing. So this is the first round that's not going to be on me, and I believe they actually ping themselves to let people know where they are planning on going. And then let's see here. So we get the suppression zone. The Demon Hunter's already pretty close. He just goes ahead and dips in there. Dot falls off. Priest goes in there as well. Dodge all the swirlies on the ground, and we are feeling pretty good here. And this boss is very, very easy. It's a good, nice recovery boss as well. As long as you do it right, shouldn't be any reason for it. I go ahead and actually dip very quickly here. So we'll go ahead and get that dot off as well. Get a meta proc, so we'll go ahead and use that. And also, using Fracture while you're in meta is going to be a huge damage increase for you as well. So make sure that if you are going into meta, you have maybe a Charge of Fracture to use as you're going into meta. Generate some extra soul shards as well. Or just souls, I think. Soul shards? Yeah. Soul shards or warlocks. Make sure that you're going into there so you can generate some more souls. It gives you a lot more resources. The other thing I will mention too is that I'm actually using a verse pot in this key, which in my head made sense at the time, but you do actually get a lot more resources when you are doing like a haste flask, just because you get your fracture cooldown a lot faster. The amount of resources that you're able to generate with that extra haste is going to be huge. So you might be tempted maybe the first couple weeks to use a Verse Flask, like, hey, I don't have any Verse gear, I'm just going to get slammed. Haste is probably going to be better most of the time, just because you want all the extra resources that you can get. Any extra souls are going to make you much, much tankier. And as you can see, you can do nice big pulls like this where you pop meta and you just go crazy. You summon your meteors and everything kind of happens passively as long as you're using Fracture, and you can just do a ton of damage to these packs. Make sure you use your Mo Aura on cooldown because it'll give you a ton of souls. And a lot of the time this spec just really feels like just blast. Just do damage, do damage. You can pull this whole hallway. These shredders don't really do anything. So this is definitely a safe hallway to just do all at once. See people segment this sometimes, but there's really no need to, especially in even lower keys and that sort of thing. Definitely no need to do that. So I think I do have some frame issues here right now, so I do apologize for that, but we'll go ahead and grab these Voidlings. We'll grab them and drag them over to the middle here, over by this Shadow Rift Void Caller. These guys take forever, so I would probably recommend trying to make these guys more efficient if you can find a way to. Maybe even chain pulling the terrors that are behind me into them, especially because they summon ads, and then they do this little healing mechanic, that sort of thing. Like this Consuming Shadows, as you can see, he'll start to like heal. He'll get like 22% health, back to 18, back to 22, and they just have a ton of health already, and they heal, and it's super annoying. So if you can make these guys more efficient, if you can make like a cleave, make it a cleave target or something like that, or a target to focus off of, that's definitely the way to do this. I was not feeling quite as confident with my ability to live in this key, especially on week 1. So I decided to just take it a little bit slower, and then we'll do all these terrors at once. Terrors really aren't going to be that difficult. As you can see, we actually accidentally pull a third terror here, and I get a little nervous, but I do have a Silent Sigil, so we should be good. But we do want to hard kick the fears. I know a lot of people that are newer to Mythic Plus, sometimes you will just default to like Leg Sweep or like Stun or something like that. If you stun something, it will just recast it pretty much instantly. So if you have your kick available, go ahead and use your interrupt, because your interrupt means that they won't try and cast that spell again for a specific amount of time. So for those fears, we don't want to have to keep spending CC and spending globals using CC to keep interrupting those. I wait for one person to kick, we go ahead and kick the next one, go ahead and kick the next one, and we have plenty of kicks in the group to make that happen, so go ahead and do that. We will go ahead and grab this pull. You can pull this whole left side together. And again, this is going to be one of those Void Callers, so having other trash with it, none of the other trash in this area really does a whole lot. So doing other things with these Void Callers is fantastic, because you can just cleave off the Void Caller. Makes it much, much more efficient as you're going through the dungeon. So as you can see, everything else is pretty much dead around it, and the thing is still at half HP, which is a little bit crazy here. But it just is how it is. So we'll go ahead and try and finish this guy off here using my meta on proc as well, and using a Fracture afterwards, using a Soul Cleave just so we can get those meteors going. And then I want to make sure I get all these Avoid guys over here. Kick the far one, hopefully someone else kicks the other one. We'll get this nice gather, spin around with Feldev to try and get some aggro, Immolation Aura, and then we are good. The only thing you really need to worry about here is these Tyrants do a pretty nasty heal absorb on the tank, so if you're a healer, definitely be on the lookout for that. If you're a tank, not a whole lot you can do about it except for make sure you have a defensive going. Give the healer as much time as possible to heal you through it. You're probably not going to be able to heal through it yourself, so as you can see, we're just trying to take as little damage as possible. And I actually do end up getting kind of bricked there, and I proc my cheat death because I'm just taking too much damage from these shredders here. So that is going to be a little bit unfortunate, but that's what cheat death is for, so it's all good. This one I have a little bit more for. I'm in meta, I'm not taking a whole lot of damage, and I have a ton of souls out there, so we can easily heal through this one. Not going to be a big deal at all. And then we'll go ahead and get this Devouring Tyrant dead. That will open up the third boss, Galis here. And this boss is a ton of fun, especially if you're like playing a Shadow Priest. It is phenomenal. Nothing too crazy about this boss. It does have a ton of health, but we're going to go ahead and tank him right where he spawns. I think you can tank him anywhere because he kind of spawns the the triplicate guys. I save my Sigil of Flame here just so I can do maximum damage here, and then I actually do pop Immo Aura, and I should have used Fiery Brand a little earlier so it can spread around here, but I end up getting the Fiery Brand on all 3 targets there. Want to make sure that they are close enough to have that spread so that when they spread out, I'm still hitting all 3 targets with Fiery Brand. Nothing else you really need to do. You just want to make sure Galis is on top of at least one of these other little clones right here, just for maximum amounts of damage. Go ahead and just keep them on top, and I see an opportunity to get all 3 of them with a Sigil of Flame here, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that right in the middle of all 3 of them. Anytime you can get a little bit of damage on all 3 of them, definitely take that opportunity. And I'm standing just so that my Immolation Aura is within range of that 3rd one, and we get in a beautiful situation where we can actually hit all 5 of them here. So this is where I'm going to use Feldev, can use Fire Brand again, make sure that that's able to spread around on some targets. I have it on those Galis clones over on the opposite side of the room. And then again, we hit all 3 with the Sigil of Flame. Try and keep them on at least 1, and then I do get 1 over here. Go ahead and go to the 1, break your own shield, and then I'm going to bring him back over so he doesn't move too much. See a situation to get him on top of 2 of them or close to it. Make sure people are able to get some cleave here. Paladin's going to be able to Divine Storm here and do some more dam. And this boss really truly is just easy and a whole lot of fun. So just enjoy blasting. And the dungeon really does kind of get easier from here. I was feeling a little bit crunched for time, but we only have a couple pulls left after this one, so nothing to worry about. And we'll go ahead and take out Galis. Unfortunately, we get those shields right at the end here. Break the shield, and there he goes. All right, making sure we're looking at the right side of the room over here. And we're going to grab these shredders from behind the shield, and this is where we're going to pretty much pull the entire hallway, I believe, if I remember correctly. So we'll go ahead and drop the Sigil of Flame to make sure I don't lose any aggro as I'm running through here. We're going to skip all those mobs right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pop Feldev just so I can stabilize here. Don't want to pull any extra stuff here. And I'm actually going to pop Darkness because I am dropping a little bit low. I don't have meta, I don't have access to Soul Bomb, and I do get a meta proc, so that's where we're just going to pop meta. Fracture, Soul Cleave, and then get some nice meteor damage here. Get some nice crits popping up on my screen. And then I do see those guys come down the stairs, little voidlings over there, and I still have some shredders alive, so I'm going to drag these into the shredders. We'll take out these voidlings as we finish off these shredders here as well. And we're sitting in a really good spot. We are chilling. So this is going to be a very nice, easy end to a dungeon here. Once these voidlings die, I definitely could have dragged them up the stairs a little bit. I just didn't want them to social aggro onto anything else. So, gotta be mindful of that. Alright, and we'll go up these stairs here. Make sure if you're DPS you don't get too ahead of yourself. A lot of people forget about the second pack of voidlings. Don't want to take aggro on those and actually just get smacked around as you're going up the stairs. Voidlings you don't want to do by themselves. So we're going to go ahead and drag them into this double terror pack over here. Go ahead and drop Feldev as we are gathering this up. And I believe here is where I'm going to actually meta offensively. I'm pretty sure. Get my first meteor proc my crit trinket there. And yeah, I do pop meta offensively just so I can do more damage here. Get some more meteor storms going down on these guys. And as you can see, again, lots of passive damage. Doesn't really do anything to disrupt your normal rotation. You just do so much more damage. You get a ton of durability. And it feels fantastic to play. So you don't have to worry about doing your combo right like with throw glaive and all that sort of thing either. So, and I actually do have more count than I need as well because we pulled that extra pack in the courtyard, but that is totally fine. This pull, you really just need to be on the lookout for that tyrant here, because that devouring strike comes in with these first adds. The adds are going to be smacking the crap out of you, and you just got to make sure you heal it off. The priest does a great job at topping me off here, and the paladin actually does sack me as well. So that is going to be fantastic. We're going to make it a lot easier here. And I do get a meta proc as well, and then I use my soul bomb to give myself a little bit of a shield with that healing absorb there too. Going to be able to live this, and the tyrant should probably be the focus of this pack, even though the void callers are going to live for quite a long time. You definitely want to get these tyrants down because they are the only thing that's actually going to maybe kill you or kill your tank specifically on this pull. So as long as that goes down, these void callers really don't do a whole lot. Consuming shadows is easily heal throughable and, you know, not too bad. takes a little bit hard, but most healers should be able to handle that because it does damage pretty slowly. Alright, and we got all of our enemy forces, and the Voidlings are just about to go down. So we'll go ahead and finish these guys off, and then we'll go into the last boss. And I can't remember if it was this run or a different one that was the healer actually dispelled in a really, really good way. Which I don't know, like, I don't know what the meta strategy for this boss is, but I like to go on the far side first of all, just to save my DPS a little bit of time so they can just kind of walk in that front door and start blasting. We're going to go ahead and just do our regular single target rotation, keep Fracture on cooldown, and then the healer dispels me the first time. So that's my kind of left position here. And then if the healer is dispelling you every single time, you want to do something like this, I believe. So you're going to go onto the left right there and drop a circle, kind of as close to the wire that's going across the room as you can. And then when he does the second one, you want to kind of try and overlap that a little bit. I'll soak this one here. Healer's going to dispel me. And then I actually kind of run out of space because I see the hunter standing over there on the right hand side. So I don't want to drop my third one over there and just drop it on top of him. But the first dispel pool from me starts to go away. So I start moving myself back over here, over to the left hand side. And then when we get the hulking fragment again, I'll get close to the boss, make sure I overlap it a little bit with the wire over there, and then I go all the way to the other side. I actually do get stunned, which is pretty terrible actually, and he starts range attacking me, which is really, really bad. Don't do that. But we're going to get pretty close to the wire on this side, so when the next hulking fragment goes in, we can go ahead and hug the wire on this side here and then free up that space, and then we'll be able to move nice and easy into the middle here. So I get dispelled, and then I still have this little patch of grass to stand on in the middle, right as the one on the left should be going away. And then we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll have tons of space on the left here. If it ends up going away before the next hulking fragment comes out, I can pivot myself over to the left a little bit, and we're going to drop this on the wire, or as close as we can. Go back to the middle so we can still be in melee of the boss. And then the one on the right should start going away in just a second here. There we go. We see that start going away. And just kind of rinse and repeat. I have also seen some healers just not dispel the first one. And if they do that, that is also completely fine. At least in my opinion, or at least on like earlier keys, maybe like 10s, 9s, that sort of thing. That has felt totally fine. Doesn't really affect how you play, but that is the run. That's our 12 Magister's Terrace. Went pretty well, and I will, again, of course, I'll leave the talent build in the description below if you guys want to copy and paste that, import that into your own game. But leave a like on the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.